Real combat. Real action. Carnage Media.
So, we'll go to everyone's favorite segment here. Everyone's. The Wrestling Minute. And before we get into the Wrestling Minute, though, hold on, Kevin. Before we get into it, I got to share with you guys about this weird, crazy dream I had last night. All right. I was forced to wrestle John Cena.
Oh,
all right. I don't know why. I haven't been watching wrestling, so I don't know why I was wrestling John Cena of all people. And we were on top of the ladder, and he just took us both, grabbed us both, and took us right off the ladder. That's one of the last things I remember. And then later on in that dream, I had to edit the whole entire thing.
That's my favorite part, is that you still had to work afterwards.
I had to edit it.
I think that it's been a while since I've had a work nightmare, but that was my favorite detail, because he didn't start by telling me that. He's just like, dude, I had the weirdest dream. I fought John Cena. And I was like, that is pretty weird. He's like, yeah, and then I had to edit the whole thing too. I was like, bro, that lead with that. That is also hilarious. Oh man. Well, John Cena, you're not the only one who's gonna be seeing him in your nightmares, because John Cena, in one of maybe the most epic trolls of all time. I think we talk about GOATs, and you can debate. When we can have that debate probably another day, it would take another hour, whether or not John Cena is the GOAT of pro wrestling, but he's right up there. And one of the areas where I will say he might be just unapproachable is his ability to cut promos while using real world stuff and to work it into the kayfabe. So heel John Cena got challenged by CM Punk on Monday, fellas, UFC legend in his own right, CM Punk. I almost mentioned him when you were talking about worst debuts. I was like, I got a contender for you, Wade, but let's help that. CM Punk challenged John Cena. John Cena accepted, but said that CM Punk's going to have to chase him to Saudi Arabia, and said, the ball's in your court, hero, which was a wonderful little jab. John Cena using old tweets to move a storyline along. For those of you who don't know, a long time ago, when CM Punk still hated the WWE, he quote tweeted Mike the Miz and said something about, and forgive me, this is a quote, and it's also got some naughty language in it. He essentially said, why don't you go suck a blood money covered dick in Saudi? So now, not one to shy away from being called a hypocrite. Now CM Punk is going to go main event a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. So what do you guys think about that? Is John Cena no longer the heel in this program? What just happened?
Man, that's wild. That was a wild statement there.
Dude, it's great. Like, John does this stuff. Like, no one else would have called The Rock out for writing his promo on his forearm. John Cena is the only man alive who would do that in front of a live audience. And he then does this, where he's like, oh yeah, you want to fight me so bad, you're going to have to come to Saudi Arabia. I'm just like, dude, how you're working this into a storyline? Like, people are going to be throwing stuff at him when he gets there. He's going to be the bad guy now.
Yeah. Is this his turn back?
A heel versus heel program? Maybe. I think it's going to be one of those weird moments. This happens every once in a while. It's like WWE Bizarro World, like when Bret Hart was really popular as a bad guy, and they'd go do an event in Canada, and the crowd would not give a shit about what they've been told. They're like, we want him to win. Screw you guys. We will root for the bad guy. So I wonder if this is going to be one of those scenarios. You're running into that already with John Cena just being on his farewell tour. It's one of those, like, everyone boos him with a smile on their face. Like, you suck, man. We love you. We miss you, dick. It's kind of one of those things. So I at least they're keeping it interesting. But yeah, that's the big news. Connor, I know you're more up to date on this than my illustrious co-host. What are your thoughts on the big pay-per-view announcement?
I like that. I mean, I love CM Punk's one of my favorites growing up. I mean, I feel like a kid again watching Cena and Punk, so I'm excited to see that. And I don't know, I'm curious to see where they keep this Cena stuff going because obviously the R-Truth stuff is still going on with him coming back and everything. So they're going to tie Truth back in. So I don't know if he would lose it to Punk right now because I'm assuming they want to put the belt on Punk at some point, but I don't know if now would be the time with all this heat around Cena with the R-Truth situation. So I think it's really up in the air, and those are my favorite matches, ones where you don't know who's going to win. Those are the best ones. So it's one I'll definitely have to tune in and watch that one and see. And I hope R-Truth gets involved again because I'm loving what they're doing with him right now. I'm loving that stuff. So.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun, and I think you're right. It's those are especially in the modern era where there are people who get paid to leak this stuff on Twitter an hour before it goes live, and you're like, dude, I just got to mute these people, right? Like, just let me keep kayfabe personally, at least, So you got to stay off Twitter. You got to avoid all this stuff to avoid the spoilers. But yeah, I think my guess is that their current plans are still to have Cody take it back from John. I love that they've turned the whole summer of Punk in reverse, and now it's John Cena threatening to take the belt and go home with it on his way out. Just like I think it was the 2011 storyline where Punk was doing that. So I love that, and the fact that those two have the ability. There is no better promo fight to watch. Like, if you at home are interested in being a wrestler, you want to be a good talker, go watch these two in their promo build up to this, because they're two of the best to do it. They reference stuff from 20 years ago that they know the marks like me will pop for, but it still works if you're just there and it's your first time. So it's some really high level stuff that those guys managed to do. What I'm hoping they'll wind up doing is have Seth Rollins use his Money in the Bank to win a title, and then Punk will inevitably be the one to beat him. I think that is probably where, because I agree, Connor's right. They're going to put a belt on him. They're not going to bring him back after all these years and not have him go out with one last title run. But this one will be interesting. Just like with R-Truth coming back as Ron Killings, the WWE doesn't always get it right. In fact, a lot of times they get it very wrong. But this new regime has been a lot better at hearing the fan feedback and knowing when it's time to pivot, because they have a moneymaker right here. So they've turned R-Truth from this comedy bit player that everybody loved but nobody took as a serious threat, them not being able to come to terms with him and the internet being uproaring about it, has him show back up and interfere in a main event match. Now he's coming back as Ron Killings. He cuts his own hair live, and now he's serious again. So it'll be interesting to see how they have to pivot from a Saudi show where I just can't imagine people will be cheering for the babyface now that John Cena has exposed his thoughts on the host of the event. It's wild. It's crazy.
Love it, love it, love it.
That is about it, guys, for me from the Wrestling Minute. A bunch of other stuff we could talk about, but then it would become a wrestling hour.